Hi everyone, this is Big Benedict. We're on the 7th test of Valor in this game. This is Chapter 9, Heart of Darkness. So we have 30 of the Gold Vangelfs / demon spawns and 70 of the marionette demons. So this is a really hard trial, in fact, and I completely depleted my inventory during this trial. Definitely want to do Lunar 360 ETs on the Gold Vangelfs, because that is going to kill them and not much risk is involved. I would come here with 30 arrows as well as 30 incendiary shurikens. The wind blades work really well on the marionette demons, whom I don't believe can be affected at all by the incendiary shurikens, but you're going to see me toss the incendiary shurikens pretty much anytime I have any Gold Vangelfs on the map left. That's just because even though I know it's probably auto-targeting at the marionettes, at least I can get in some hits on the demon spawns. So it only takes 2 daggers to get them killed with an incendiary shuriken. The first one delimbing them, the second one killing them. The only problem is, getting those daggers to connect, and a lot of the daggers are going to get just wasted. So this first part's pretty tough, and I hate getting juggled by their flame attack, their projectile. So I'm going to use life. I'm going to be using all the lives of the 1,000 gods I have, and this is a trial where you're pretty much just doing it for the achievement, because, or just the fun. But this isn't really fun because it's too hard. But anyway, it's still kind of fun, I suppose, in a way. I just don't like those marionette demons. They're really awful, really bad news. But when I say for the achievement, I just meant that the reward you get is a Talisman of Rebirth, which is, we're going to get one of those in a subsequent part of this chapter. So pretty much, I don't know, just it's that kind of attack. And on the marionette demons, it's the prescription for success on those guys is that you don't jump, don't evade jump, but you're going to see me doing it constantly because I just like to get more spaced out from the enemies, not because there's less risk if you just dash, but I can't help it. I'm sorry. But yeah, so use your Spirit of the Devils prior to having yourself use the Talisman of Rebirth, though. I was also trying to restrain myself from using the Talisman of Rebirth until the marionette demons, because I would rather have to use that later on in this trial rather than right off the bat, when I don't want to lose so much progress, and you're likely to get killed in this section when you're just fighting the marionettes. I got killed a couple times versus the Gold Vangelfs, but for now the priority is slaying those Vangelfs. So when these guys are in the air, they will fire their projectiles. I think they throw 2 at a time, and if you get hit by one, you might get juggled by the other one. So really watch out. It takes away almost all of your health. It's really bad. But a lot of the times they'll just be standing on the ground, running at you. So prepare your charge. You have ample time, and to get a 360 ET is very easy. The timing window. You don't have to be holding it too long to build up an ET. It's a base level charge. So yeah, I more or less depend on the incendiary shurikens to take care of the dragons, and just use the wind blades. My wind blades are at level 3. My Nimpos, they're all at level 3 except the the Void, which is at level 2 currently, and the Flame Phoenix is just going to have to remain at level 1. Also, when they're all like in like a, I'll show you when it happens. I don't think you can OT them when they're in a particular status, even though they're in OT status. When they've staked themselves into the ground, but you see the smoke coming out of them, meaning they're at, one hit's going to kill them with a technique, an ultimate or obliteration technique. I'm sorry, so many techniques in this game. But I think when they've staked themselves in the ground, you can't do an OT. It has to be when they're on their legs. But yeah, this is just an endurance fight. There we go, missed right there. I hate missing, gotta get out of the way. Gonna use another Lives of the Thousand Gods here. And since I ran out of incendiary shurikens, I'm gonna equip my arrows. Arrows are very helpful when we deal with the marionette demons. They're not helpful now. Okay, so I think all the Van Gelfs are gone. I need to OT her. There we go. Now I'm equipping the scythe. Now we fought the rocket launcher enemies and these guys in Chapter 6, but at that time we didn't have the scythe, so we really couldn't avail ourselves of its long-range efficacy here. So make sure you do avail yourself of it. I'm gonna OT. Okay, so here's where I go around shooting arrow UTs. And just blind firing. I'm just kind of, it's one of those things where I'm trying not to look at where the enemies are, but it's not going to make them less aggressive as it does some other enemies. Okay, so I was trying to grab her, but she was not in OT status. That was my mistake. My guidebook actually lists these enemies here as one of the toughest enemies in the game, and I concur with that. The projectile attack that they do, it cannot be blocked. I'm just reading off my book here. Their projectile attack cannot be blocked, and it leaves Hayabusa open to their charge attack that frequently follows and inflicts a significant amount of damage. They also attack in groups, making it even more difficult to avoid the projectile attacks. In addition, their metal bodies make them strong against Hayabusa's weapons. Use the Flying Swallow as much as possible to stay on the move. That's a joke. Who fucking wrote this? The Flying Swallow? Once their numbers have declined, use the Flying Swallow technique or switch to the Eclipse Scythe to inflict as much damage as possible to take them out in fewer attacks. So that's the kind of genius strategies this book gives out. But it's still a good book for what it is. Okay, so basically you're just seeing me run around, charge attacks, and I'm moving the analog stick in the direction of the enemies when I'm releasing my charge to aim the charged attack. I mean, you've got range, but you don't have... I mean, you can't hit them when... You see the guys in the distance, you can't hit those guys, but normally you can hit the guys that are, you know, within your own quadrant. Like, if they're about halfway across the screen, you probably can hit them. So I know this looks like suicide some of the times. I'm just going around blindly charging, but believe you me, when I'm doing this, I don't know. This is one of those enemies that you've got to feel out and know how to work. There's one instance later in the video where I believe it was like a close call, but I knew exactly that she was going to do it. And when it happens, I will point it out. And it's not me, you know, trying to sound like I know how to do everything in this game. It was just one of those instances in this fight where I had control because I know how to work these enemies. I know how they work. I know where I wasn't supposed to be at that time and where it was okay to stand and hold my ground. So I'll know instantly when I see it. And it occurs a little bit later in this video, I believe. But look at all that. Kill those guys with those wind blades. It's really helpful. So my strategy about the item usages is that I'll use all the lives of the 1,000 gods I have first of all, and then I'll use then I'll start dipping into my other healing items and stuff like that in my regular inventory. It's just the way I like to do it. Here I'm blind firing some more arrows. You're not going to miss. When you blind fire, you're not missing. You're not going to miss those. So it just takes 2 shots to kill one of these enemies. And what I like to do is just absorb the essence really quick and expedite my charge. And again, this might look like it's a little bit, you know, well, okay, that was a close call. You know, you can't know that that's going to happen, something like that, when it happens. It's just going to happen, and there is a luck factor. I'm not going to deny that, but the one occurrence that I know, where I think the enemy landed right next to me, the one I knew for certain, just based on my dealings with these enemies, that's not luck. That's ingrained skill and practice. But of course, I make mistakes. I always make mistakes. That's why, you know, if I didn't make mistakes, I wouldn't even have to use any healing items. But this is probably one of the hardest trials. I've done the trial on the next stage. That's an easy one. That's one of those, you know, they just hand it to you pretty much. It's just death worms and bugs. But the one on Chapter 11, I think it might have been that move. Right there, I knew that I could. I just knew it. So, but if I see something else that might have been what I was talking about, other than that, I will point it out. I guess it was just a lot of those types of evasions where I knew that she would land, like, I knew if I dodged one final time, she would land like right next to me, and it always happens. And I know how to work these guys, and you're gonna have to practice if you want to, you know, to beat something like this. You really have to. Because if I had never played this game and I started to try to beat these enemies with, well, if I knew how to do UTs only, if I only knew how to do that, because that's what I'm doing here exclusively, I wouldn't know how to do this, because I would have to study these enemies for like probably 100 attempts to try to figure these guys out. But I've just been dealing with these enemies so long, since Sigma 2 and stuff like that. That's the reason why you're not supposed to jump, but I think I get hit again. Punished. Yeah, that's my punishment for jumping. But hell, I want to jump when I play, so I'm just going to take my punishment and pay the price. Ouch. 3 times. That's damage I shouldn't have received, but I'm really stubborn about how I like to play. Basically, I like to evade and dash away just to get distance. But sometimes it's safer just to walk rather than jump. Okay, so now I'm out of arrows, and for the remainder of the video, I'm just going to be doing UTs and OTs and ETs and everything like that. So here's me dashing. Here's me going with the program, just trying to, you know, do the right thing. But I can still do my own thing, even though it's partially right, and still succeed. And you could do the same thing. Just, man, it might have been over here somewhere, that one occurrence. But I mean, this scythe, it's got a lot of range, so just take that into advantage. And it's got a lot of strength too. It's got power and range. But most of this is and it isn't blind faith. I mean, wow, that was pretty close. Always just finish those guys off. I also don't recommend just going up to the enemy. Make sure you do a dash, because you get iframes during the dash. You're not completely invincible, but there do exist iframes within the reversed wind when you're moving the left analog stick and you're pressing the evade button. If you don't believe me, just look at the last video for Chapter 8 when I was dashing over those mines and I didn't get hit. Well, I got hit on one of them, but I've done it where I didn't get hit at all. So there's the proof of that. So, but 70 of these guys, that's a lot of these enemies to take care of. I also wanted to see if I bet the Tonfa would take these guys out just with an ET, but it doesn't have any range, and this is dangerous to get next to these guys. Really dangerous. Used to healing at him. Yeah, in that state, you see, I think she was an OT status, but I didn't want to. You can't grab her when she's staked to the ground. I'm pretty certain of it. I don't know what he was aiming at there. So this is the point in the video where, you know, you can't afford to make any mistakes. I only have one healing item left. My health is at full capacity. I don't know what the fuck he was aiming at right there. But I mean, these enemies, they can be disposed of pretty quickly. Just with a couple of UTs, it's just those times when you're getting mauled by these guys. That's the problem, and having to use so many items. Just going to finish her off. That was a nice kill. Now I've got another one. That was pure luck right there. But I think there really should be a kill counter on these. It should tell you how many you have to kill and how many you have killed. Like, it should say, like, 55 of 100. It should. That would be really nice. That might have been pure luck, too. But I think this has the potential to be the hardest test of Valor. I have not seen or played the ninth and final one. I know I know what it is. It's the red dragons again and the death worms. It shouldn't be that hard. It's probably tedious. But 70 of these enemies, that's damn hard. See, here I'm just walking around the enemies instead of jumping. That's probably how I didn't get hit so much either, but... Oh, yeah, I hate getting trapped. Try not to get... If you can avoid it, try not to get trapped. Don't let them surround you and trap you. Just like my guidebook said, even though it dispensed pretty shitty advice about doing the fly swallow. Yeah, try doing the fly swallow on these enemies. See how good that'll help you. But it did say that these guys do like to group up on you. And hell, 5 at a time is really hard here. I mean, we only had to face 3 at a time back in Chapter 6, but there's 5 at a time here. It's really hard. But fortunately, they're not too aggressive. That's the one thing that I like about them. But if I had to say, you know, a final verdict about this Test of Valor in particular, yeah, you can make a lot of money, but as long as you can restrain yourself from using a bunch of healing items, I would say go for it. But it's one of those ones where, I mean, if you get hit by these enemies, you're almost dead. So you have to have a lot of healing items here. But you know, for the reward, it's not worth the risk. You know, for a Talisman of Rebirth, which I had to use one during this anyway, so we're going to get another one coming up in this level. It's not worth it. But, you know, if you're going for karma or the achievement, you know, you might as well do it. That was a close call. Another fuck. Whole series of close calls right in a row. Okay, I think we're almost... Yep, one enemy left. I'm sorry I was silent for a lot of this, but it's the same thing over and over, you guys. I'm sorry about that, but we try to do the best we can, don't we? And we succeeded, but it came at a pretty high price, and the reward it's not worth it. But you know, you can still try dabble with it if you want to test it out. But my verdict is definitely, you know, stay away from it. If it's damn hard. So we took the fish out. We're going to go back to the portal and continue our chapter. But thanks for watching, and I hope that you get the achievement too. It's going to pop up right here just in case you wanted to know what it is. But anyway, take care, and thank you for watching.